If there's one thing you should know about Vis, it's this. Nothing about his life is normal, not his job, not his past, and definitely not the secret he's hiding from an empire that would kill him without blinking. When we meet him, he's living in the Republic of Katina, a place where your whole identity is measured by how much will you can give to the state. And Vis, he refuses to give them anything. By day, he works one of the darkest jobs imaginable. He's in the prisons, unhooking half-dead inmates from giant machines called sappers. Things that drain your will until you're basically an empty shell. It's creepy, it's dangerous, and it's a constant reminder of how this world treats people at the bottom. By night, he fights illegally for cash, pretending he's just another orphan kid trying to stay alive. The truth? He's actually Prince Diago, the last survivor of a conquered kingdom. But no one can ever know that. One night, something weird happens in the prison. A stranger interrogates a prisoner in a dead language. One most people don't even know existed. Vis shouldn't understand it, but he does, and he knows that's bad news. Later, the same stranger shows up at the orphanage like he's shopping for a child. This man is Ulsaskor Telemus, one of the most powerful senators in the entire republic. Out of nowhere, he chooses Vis and announces he's adopting him. But Ulsaskor doesn't do anything out of kindness. He knows exactly who Vis really is. He knows about his dead family, his hidden identity, and the reason he's been surviving on the streets this long. Ulsaskor gives Vis a deal. Go to the prestigious Katinan Academy, earn power, gather information, and help uncover who really killed Ulsaskor's brother, Karor. It's manipulation dressed as opportunity, but Vis accepts. Because for the first time, he sees a path that could let him escape this oppressive empire for good. That hope lasts about 5 minutes. On their way to the academy, Ulsaskor's skyship is attacked by rebels called the Anguis. They don't want to kill Vis, they want to capture him. They know he's Diago. They know he's valuable. Suddenly, Vis realizes he's not just trying to survive a corrupt empire. He's stuck between two powerful groups that want to own him. He barely escapes the attack with his life. Ulsaskor's people drag him out of the burning wreck, insisting everything is fine, and the academy awaits. But Vis already feels it in his bones. This school isn't a place for learning. It's a battlefield for the elite, and he's walking into it with a target on his back. But things get even more complicated when Vis discovers a hidden part of the academy, a secret training room filled with relics, ancient symbols, and clues hinting that the Empire's history is full of lies. Whoever built this place knew the truth about the monarchy's fall, and the truth about him. By the time his first week ends, Vis realizes something unsettling. The academy isn't just a school. It's a pressure cooker designed to forge weapons out of children and destroy anyone who doesn't fit the mold. And if Vis wants to survive long enough to uncover who killed Karor and why the rebels want him alive, he'll have to play smarter, colder, and fight far more dangerously than he ever planned. If the academy felt dangerous before, part 3 is where it turns into a full-blown psychological thriller. Vis is now officially on everyone's radar. Teachers, senators, rebel loyalists, and even students who've decided he's either a threat, a mystery, or a convenient target to climb the ranks. And the academy, it doubles down. The cohorts are thrown into something called inter-cohort trials, which is basically the Hunger Games, but with more math and fewer rules. These trials blend combat, strategy, emotional pressure, and teamwork, forcing everyone to reveal who they truly are under stress. Vis is doing everything he can to stay under the radar, but guess what? Being competent is suspicious. Being calm is suspicious. Breathing is suspicious. So when he flawlessly predicts enemy movements and saves his cohort from a brutal failure, his classmates start watching him with a mix of awe and paranoia. Meanwhile, something weird is happening behind the scenes. Files about Karor disappear from the academy archives. Student schedules are hacked. A professor accidentally leaves a door unlocked that leads to a restricted underground chamber. Someone is manipulating everything, almost like a puppet master tugging strings just out of sight. Vis starts piecing things together. Someone knows he's not who he says he is. Someone knows his connection to the old monarchy. Someone wants him alive. Someone else wants him dead. No pressure. And then things get worse. Viz finds evidence that Caror's death may not have been a random attack by rebels. Instead, it may have been an internal assassination, a quiet move in a much bigger political game. Suddenly, Ulsascor's adoption of him feels less like generosity and more like strategic capture. But Viz also starts forming real relationships. Calidus challenges him constantly, but also seems weirdly fascinated by him. Eugenia becomes a genuine friend, someone who sees his kindness even when he tries to hide it. And Orym, his loyalty is becoming shaky. The more Orym sees Viz act too smart or too skilled, the more he suspects there's a deeper truth. One night, Viz sneaks into a restricted library archive using a hacked security code and finds something he never expected, records mentioning a surviving heir. His heart drops. The Empire has been hunting for him long before he ever arrived at the Academy. Then, boom, sabotage hits. During a physical trial, the platform beneath Viz collapses, nearly killing him. The instructors claim it was a mechanical error, but Viz sees the frayed wire, neatly cut. Someone deliberately tried to eliminate him. Not a warning, not a scare tactic, a murder attempt. This forces Viz to confront the truth. He isn't just hiding from the rebel Anguis movement. He's trapped inside an entire institution filled with people who would gladly kill an heir to the monarchy if they discovered him. But the real twist comes when Viz discovers a symbol carved behind a toppled column in the arena, an ancient royal sigil only someone from the monarchy would recognize. A message, a clue, a threat. He doesn't know yet. All he knows for sure is that someone on campus knows exactly who he is. And they're not done testing him. This is where The Will of the Many stops being a school story and becomes a political thriller with teenagers who really need therapy. Viz is still reeling from the sabotage attempt, but there's no time to rest, cry, or file an HR complaint. The Academy announces the next phase of the curriculum, the Pillars. Think of the Pillars as the backbone of the Empire. Huge tests that determine your future, your social standing, and whether you're going to become someone important or someone who gets politely forgotten. Each student has to choose which pillar they'll specialize in. Power, military, diplomacy, intelligence, real pick your destiny stuff. Viz purposely picks something unassuming, but somehow still ends up being brilliant at it. Classic problem. Meanwhile, his relationships continue to complicate. Calidus is circling him like a wolf who can't decide whether he wants to bite Viz or mentor him. Eugenia worries about him constantly. And Orym, his suspicion has now become a full-time job. He keeps watching Viz like he's waiting for him to slip. But the biggest shift is internal. Viz starts to realize that even without meaning to, he's becoming a leader. People turn to him for strategy. They follow his instincts. Some even respect him. And that terrifies him because the last thing he wants is to look anything like the ruler he's secretly meant to be. Then the plot deepens. In the middle of the night, an alarm shakes the academy. A rebel attack, a drill. Everyone panics. Lights flicker, teachers shout orders, and out of nowhere, Viz is grabbed by two masked men who drag him through a service corridor. Before he can fight back, they reveal they're not rebels. They're members of a covert Imperial faction, and they want Viz alive. They lead him to a hidden chamber under the Academy, filled with ancient relics from before the Empire took over. They know who he is. They know his uncle was murdered. They know the monarchy didn't fall by accident. And worst of all, they think Viz is their key to restoring the old order. He's horrified. Becoming a royal figurehead was never part of the plan. These people see him as a weapon, a symbol, a way to rally the Empire's enemies, and maybe to tear everything apart in the process. Viz wants nothing to do with them until they show him something that freezes his heart. Proof that Ulsascor has been tracking him, manipulating him, and possibly had a hand in Caror's death. That's when Viz's denial cracks. His loyalty, his trust. His entire worldview, gone. The conspirators leave him with a choice: ignore this and remain a pawn, or accept that he's already in the game and start playing. As Viz tries to pretend nothing happened, he notices everything differently now. The teacher stares, Ulsa scores overly warm encouragement, senatorial visits disguised as evaluations. He sees the academy for what it is, a machine that grinds people into perfect tools of the empire, and he is not willing to become one. But before he can decide what to do next, the academy launches a massive trial called the Final Cohort Assessment, one that will test every skill they've learned so far. Fail, and you're done. Win, and you're elevated. Every student is desperate. Emotions go wild. Friendships crack. Rivalries turn toxic. During the trial, someone tries to kill Viz again, this time with less subtlety and more push him off a cliff. He survives only because Calidus jumps in and pulls him back. And for the first time, Calidus quietly admits he's been protecting Viz from the shadows because he can sense that Viz is more important than he's letting on. Now, Calidus wants answers, and Orem wants answers, and Viz is completely out of places to hide. The part ends with Viz standing on the roof of the academy after the trial, staring at the sprawling empire below. One thought echoing through him: if he doesn't take control of his fate, someone else will. Everything is about to change. By the final stretch of the story, Viz is barely holding himself together, but the empire clearly isn't done making his life miserable. The academy prepares for the massive convocation ceremony, and while students are excited, Viz feels like someone just aimed a spotlight straight at every secret he's been hiding. Ulsa watches him like a hawk, guards lurk around corners, and even Viz's friends sense something is very wrong. Then everything explodes, literally and politically. A major figure is assassinated, conspirators strike, and Viz gets dragged straight into the center of a plan that's been building around him for years. They tell him the truth. None of his achievements were coincidences. His acceptance into the academy, his rise in the ranks, even Ulsa's sudden obsession with him, it was all engineered. They didn't choose Viz for who he is. They chose him for what he is: a threat, a weapon, a legacy they want to control. But instead of breaking, Viz finally wakes up. He escapes, crashes into convocation, and refuses to keep playing anyone's game. The chaos that follows destroys the academy's illusion of safety. And as Viz uncovers the real truth about his past, he realizes something terrifying. He's done running. The empire should be afraid now.